got back from seeing the Nun 2, and I will say it's better than the first movie. That is the good, but the bad is that while it is better, it's not better by a lot. Like with the Annabelle movie and then Annabelle Creation, it was better by quite a large amount. The quality just went up so much. But with this, it's just marginally better. Look, if you're a big fan of the Conjuring movies like me, I would definitely go and see it in the cinema. But if you're not a huge fan, this is easily a movie you could just stream at home at a later date. So, look, one of my problems is that it just goes for too long. Look, I have no problem with a good long movie. I love watching the Lord of the Rings extended editions like every year. So I like a long movie, but this, it starts to feel its length. Like, I would never call it boring. It doesn't actually get boring, but you start to feel it. So, look, Michael Chavez, I don't feel like horror is for him. I'm not going to say he's a bad director. I don't know, maybe he'd be better in another sort of genre, but so far from what I've seen from him with The Conjuring 3 and The Curse of La Llorona, those movies were the weakest in the Conjuring franchise, in my opinion. So I feel like I'll go into why I don't like him a bit more later, but I feel like he just really brought this movie down, and I'm really hoping for The Conjuring 4 they don't have him as the director. Same for the TV series. I hope he's not involved in that. And I still have hope for the series and The Conjuring 4 to pick up, because when the Conjuring movies are good, they are so good. Like the first two movies, Annabelle Creation and Annabelle Comes Home had so much potential that it just didn't meet to be like a Marvel cinematic universe of the Conjuring franchise. So I hope they go in that direction with the TV show and have it be like the X-Files, Buffy, Supernatural, like a self-contained episodes that are Monster of the Week episodes. That would be really cool, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And they could obviously focus on it like being a different artifact in the Warrens Museum every episode. I feel like Michael Chavez just has cheap jump scares, style over substance. But it was a stylish movie. It had good like gothic atmosphere, great set design. I really like the ambience of the first movie and this movie. And the sound design as well was really good, just like in the first movie. So I will give this movie that. It looked really good. And I'm also really excited for another horror movie coming out next week, but I don't think a lot of people are really talking about, called A Haunting in Venice, which sort of is like that same gothic ambience but in Italy. So I'll have a review out for that. That's the only other horror movie coming out this year I think that I'm really excited for, because the Exorcist trailers have just really disappointed me. I just feel like it looks like a cheap cash grab. So, and the first movie is probably still to this day, the original Exorcist is like the most terrifying movie I've ever seen. So yeah, it's disappointing that the reboot looks so bad. So Michael Chavez seems to stick to cliches a lot. And look, there's nothing wrong with the cliche. I always say that if it's done well. But you know that thing they always do in horror movies like this where they have the bone cracking scene? It's just so gross. It's not scary, it's gross. So we have the actress of American Horror Story, Tessa Farmiga, I think her name is. So she's back in this. So her character travels to the orphanage where Frenchie is working as the gardener. He's possessed, and he seems to be free of Valak by the end of this movie. But then obviously we see in the Conjuring 1, he's still possessed. But in this movie, Valak seems to be freed. Like in the first movie, it's defeated by the blood of Christ. They have this cool scene where they turn wine into the blood of Christ, and that defeats Valak. Frenchie was really likable in this, and I feel like he, as a character, being in it much more, really worked for the movie because he was a strong character. And I forget the name, but Taissa Farmiga's character. So basically, we find out that Valak is after this holy relic, and it's sort of like Indiana Jones trying to get the holy relic, but evil. Though you could say that Indiana Jones is pretty dodgy as a character as well, but anyway, so Valak's trying to get this holy relic, and it doesn't really make sense how Valak can do all these physical things but can't pick up this relic. I guess because it's holy, but then in the end it does pick it up for a bit, so that's never really explained why it couldn't pick it up until that particular point, because nothing happened to suddenly make it more powerful. I don't know, but anyway, so it turns out that Taissa Farmiga's character is the descendant of someone who was linked to the relic. So there's a little bit of lore set up in terms of that, of her visions being ancestral, something that's run in her family for quite a long time. So yeah, that was pretty cool to explore that. I wouldn't say I found this particularly scary, but look, I've been watching so many horror movies over the years that I'm just desensitized. So yeah, other people might find it scary, but as for the post-credit scene, basically I see it as just like a tease for the Conjuring 4, setting up that movie, because we have the Warrens and their daughter, and they get a call from the Vatican, from some priest saying that they are urgently needed to help with something, and that's it. So we don't know any details, and that's probably because they're leaving it open to sort of use that scene in any way that they see fit. But yeah, it's cool to see the Warrens at the end of it. So I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, so let me know down below, what's your favorite Conjuring movie in the franchise, and are you excited for the Conjuring 4 and the TV series? Do you plan on watching that, or are you sort of over it? And please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.